Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of this show where I cover daily news topics, cryptocurrency news, and some of my own personal thoughts on the market. Today we got interesting topics like Jeff Bezos' flight, Ark Invest, Tesla earnings, and some crypto news, and some interesting personal thoughts about the market at the end of this video. So let's have a cup of coffee and let's dive in. So the first one is Jeff Bezos' flight today. So hopefully he doesn't explode out in space. But basically that's it. He hasn't flown yet, so there's not too much here. But he's basically trying to race Richard Branson into orbit or just out into space. So that's kind of the first article. Not really too much to talk about there. This one I think is a bit more important, which is Tesla's earnings are coming up, and they've been their stock's price has been pretty low since the all-time high, and they've been putting out a good amount of vehicles, breaking records every time. So I think this is definitely something to watch out for. Maybe their earnings are going to be pretty high, but once again, we have to remember that they did buy Bitcoin, and it is also priced into their stock, and Bitcoin has broke under 30K recently, so that's another thing to keep in mind. But this is probably going to have an interesting effect on their stock, so I'd be watching out for that. Their earnings are going to be coming up pretty soon, and there also are some rumors that the Cybertruck is they're already coming out with the Cybertruck, and there was a leaked video. Let's see if I can pull it up. There's a leaked video of Elon Musk in New York City driving the Cybertruck. Let's see if I can find it. Videos. Oh, maybe it was an old video. Okay. Anyway, let's go to the next news, which is the Ark Fund is buying $53.6 million worth of Square after Jack Dorsey's Bitcoin announcement. There's going to be some more Square news in this video, just more in the crypto section of these news. But basically, you can see here Ark just kind of loaded up on more Square. That's basically it. There's nothing else really to talk about here except on Square's side, which we're going to get to. Also, Robinhood seeks up to $35 billion valuation on their IPO. So let me know, guys, in the comments if you're going to be buying Robinhood stock once it IPOs. Their numbers are pretty great, but if you do look at their financials, a lot of their money is coming from the crypto transactions, and especially Dogecoin. So it's going to be interesting to see how that's going to play out, especially right now when the price of Doge is like 16 cents compared to 70 at peak. So this is going to be interesting to see how their numbers are going to hold up. Maybe it's going to be a similar play with Coinbase, where it just skyrocketed on the first day, and then it just kind of crashed and burned right after. So that's going to be kind of interesting to see. Talking about all these drops, a lot of young people are going to be buying the dip in stocks. My question is it just going to keep on dipping? Is it just going to keep going down? Which we're also going to get to at the end of this video, where I show you my TA for the S&P 500. Which is going to be pretty interesting if you get to that part. But yeah, basically all this talks about is that a bunch of people are just buying the dip, especially young new investors. So, it's buying the dip is basically a meme at this point. Then big news is Bitcoin drops below 30K for the first time in 4 weeks. And if you actually look at the pattern, every single time when it rebounds off of the 30K line, it gets less and less momentum. I can actually pull that up for you right here. Trying to find just a good chart right here. So if I pull this up for you, you can see that every single time it touches, first rebound was 32%. Second one right here, if you could count, was 18%. Our last one was 4%. So, and it just dropped down under this line. So you can see it's breaking a new all-time low, except for there was a tiny wick here before, which is what this is marked. This yellow line here is the previous all-time low that it touched. Other than that, you can see that we kind of broke out of this triangle pattern. I wish I could clean this up a bit for you, but you basically get the idea. So that's the Bitcoin news right here. Dropped under 30K for the first time, and just like I mentioned, it just before it was rebounding at least a little. Now it's just crawling on the ground. So next, also Bitcoin news is investors are buying puts for 22K and 20K. So basically shorting Bitcoin, which, I mean, obviously makes sense, right? It couldn't hold the 30K line, so now it's just going to keep falling. So nothing really new with this. Then Grayscale Investment launches a decentralized finance fund, so a DeFi fund. So it's been a pretty big space, but we haven't really had any big giant players coming in, and that's basically what they're trying to do is just launch decentralized finance space. And that's also where we get to Square. So Square is also trying to get into decentralized finance, which may be also why Ark decided to invest, buy $53 million worth of their shares. So could be interesting plays. Once again, I would keep an eye out on those companies. Tesla. I mean, you can't invest into Blue Origin, I don't think, but interesting to see, like, if Jeff Bezos explodes in space, that's gonna probably hit Amazon stock, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I think they probably planned it out to be pretty safe. So just interesting to look out for. And now a couple of my own thoughts. So one thing I do want to look at is the S&P 500. We're going to look at SPY here. So if you look and just keep zooming out, you can see here that since the drop during the pandemic, this is when, things started closing down and we saw this giant drop. Right here was, like 35%. It's been recovering in this ascending triangle, and it's been getting more squeezed and more squeezed and more squeezed, and the ascending triangle is a bearish pattern, so you definitely should be watching out if it breaks down. And if you notice here, that's kind of what happened yesterday. Yesterday it exited it, so we're gonna see if this is a retest today. If it is, it's gonna fall. And if it isn't, if it ends up just staying in this, it'll probably be trading for a good bit. And you can see kind of where I'm expecting that if it doesn't break down earlier than this is probably where I think it's going to break. And my expectations is that SPY is going to go down to about $380 and possibly less. Maybe it's going to enter back into this previous trading range that it had pre-pandemic crash, basically. If it could load. Yeah, there we go. So it could possibly fall back down into this range from pre-pandemic crash. Because this was like this whole section is just the recovery and all the news just being like, get into recovery stocks, get into recovery stocks. So everyone was just hyping up and buying, especially with their stimulus checks. So these are just my thoughts, obviously. So don't take any of this as advice. These are just my ideas and the news. So hopefully you guys are going to enjoy this segment. I'm going to try to increase the style and the budget for the show as time goes on. So this is the first episode of just kind of covering the news in the morning and giving you my own thoughts. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Let me know if you guys like this format of the video, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.